Biophoenix here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game called Fighter's Destiny, and it was released for the Nintendo 64 in the year 1998, and it was developed by Genki and published by Ocean Software. And as you can tell, this is a fighting game, and if you're very familiar with the N64 library, then you already know that there isn't very many fighting games for it. And this was the second fighting game I ever heard about that was for the system, the first one being Super Smash Bros. And I know that this game came out a year later after this one, but I never heard about this game until the year 2003 when I found it at a yard sale randomly. So yes, this is a 3D fighting game, but you don't really go walk around all over the place like you can in such games like Soul Calibur. So it's one of those games where you have to sidestep to just turn around over, but you know, that's a very common thing within fighting games around that time when this came out. And for a fighting game, this game has a lot of different options the way how you win the match. So normally, as you would suspect, you can win the match just by depleting your opponent's life bar, but you can also win by knocking them off the ledge, or doing a throwdown move, or even a special attack which can kill you in one hit. And what makes this even more different is the fact that you have to win a certain amount of points in the match, and by default you have to win 7 points within a match to move on to the next round. And the points that you get depends on the way how you win the match, so either being knocking them the fuck out, or just throwing them off the ledge or whatever, you get points for that, but you can also customize them to make it different. Yeah, I remember I used to do a really cheap thing when I was a kid, was I used to put all the really hard ways to win to 1 point, and doing all the easy ways to win to 5 points. Yeah, I know, very cheap, I know, but I mean, hey, I just wanted to beat the shit out of everyone in this game. So it has a really cool customizable setting, which is nice. And the way you have to win the matches is very unique, and I've never seen any other game do this before. And yes, I do prefer the traditional way of winning at a fighting game is to deplete your opponent's life bar, but it's still a neat aspect that you don't see very often. And as different as it is, it does work pretty well, and you know, I'm all welcome for it. And as for the modes, well, as you can tell, there's an arcade mode and a versus mode, which you would suspect for this kind of thing, but there are also game modes that you can unlock more characters from. And you know, I like it when fighting games have multiple game modes, it just makes it more interesting. So in one of the game modes that you can play, there's Survivor mode, where you have to defeat 100 enemies in a row. And then there's Record Attack, where it's just kind of like an arcade run, but instead you have to fight different enemies, and you have to do them as fast as you can. And finally, there's Rodeo, and you're probably wondering, what the fuck is this? What, you have to ride on a bull or something? No, what you have to do is that you have to fight against a cow and survive as long as you can. And oh man, all I have to say about this is that this cow is a fucking bitch. Yeah, whenever you try and attack him, you can never do damage to him. The whole point is that you just have to avoid his attacks as long as you can. It's very frustrating, and I was never able to do it more than a minute, which is how you're supposed to unlock the cow character. But there is one special game mode, which is not a part of the other game modes for some whatever reason, and it's called Master Challenge. And what you do here is that there is a ring going around where you can either have to fight Master or the Joker. And no, not the Joker from Batman, this is a Russian Joker. And each time you win a block, you get a new skill. And if you have a memory card, you can use these skills and save them so you can use them whenever you want. It's kind of interesting how that works. And yes, this Master Challenge is pretty fucking hard because you have to fight 2 people, but you have to either fight them in a random order. And the character Master, yeah, I know that's his fucking name, which is kinda boring, but anyways, I'll get more into the characters later, but yes. He's not too hard, but he can be pretty difficult sometimes. But as for the Joker, oh god, don't even remind me, this guy's a fucking nightmare. Now, he's not impossibly hard, but he's just so ridiculously hard that it's just fucking cheap. I'm sure anyone that has ever played this game growing up would understand this. In fact, this guy might as well just be the Joker from Batman, but just took a different disguise and claims that he's from Russia. But overall, he's an asshole. So now we're gonna take a look at the characters, and well, some of the characters are at least interesting, but then there's some other characters that are kinda hopelessly generic. So you have Ryuji, who looks almost exactly like Ryu from Street Fighter. Not much to say about him other than the fact that he's on the front cover. And then there's Abdul, who just likes Arabic culture, and well, that's about it. And then there's Tomahawk, and you're probably thinking, I wonder what countries he's from with all the red, the white, and the blue, and the stars. So obviously he's very American, and he kinda looks like the Ultimate Warrior from WWE. And then there's Mei Ling, who is kinda like Chun-Li in a way. Yeah, I guess there's another thing that they took from Street Fighter. And then there's Perry, who is a French clown, which is pretty funny to know that there's a clown in a fighting game like this. He's probably one of the more iconic characters within this game, next to the fucking Joker. And then there's Leon, who is from Spain, and yeah, I can't really say much about him other than the fact that his name's Leon, and well, there's just so many other Leons in so many games. And then there's a Brazilian guy who is really big and muscular, and his name is Bob the Builder. Can we fix it? Now that's something new. I never would have thought to put in a Bob the Builder reference within any of my videos. But yeah, his name is fucking Bob, okay? And then there's Valerie, who is a combat specialist. I don't know why, but I just kinda like her for some reason. And finally, that I didn't mention, at least for a starter character, because I'm only gonna name the starter ones, is that there is a guy who has like the best name ever. I mean, like, this name is like so amazing that like, it's like better than anything I ever could have thought about him. And his name is Ninja. Yeah, they just gave him the name just Ninja. I mean, he's a ninja, so therefore, we'll just name him Ninja, because, well, we couldn't think of anything else for him. I mean, the only other thing that stands out for him is that if you select his second costume, he kinda looks like Spider-Man. In fact, here's a good name for him. Why not you just call him Spider Ninja? I mean, at least that sounds fucking cool. So yeah, a lot of the characters are not really the greatest things I ever seen in my life. In fact, there's not a lot of story to this game either, which is why I never explain one. So overall, I'd say the characters are kinda lazy for the most part. So let's finally get to the controls. And I think they're pretty decent for the most part. They are pretty responsive and they are easy to get used to. But trying to figure out how to do the special moves or the throwdowns and all the cool stuff is kinda hard to figure out. I don't really know exactly how to do them, but all I do know is that I just do them randomly. Then again, I'm not really good at fighting games, so I'm pretty sure there's probably someone out there who might be thinking I'm like some type of idiot just because I don't know that. But I don't really have too many complaints about the controls. I mean, at least I don't see anything wrong with them. Or at least nothing wrong to make the game broken or anything like that. But I find explaining the controls in a fighting game is pretty hard for me to do because, well, like I said, I'm not really good at them, so therefore I don't really try to like master all the combos and whatnot. But I just sit there and just have fun with it. And well, like I already said, I think it's alright. Now as for this game's graphics, well, I'm gonna say one thing before I actually talk about them. Now, if you're watching this and seeing what's on the screen right now, is that there's a lot of, like, graphical glitches and whatnot, and just so you know, that's not actually how the game looks. The game wasn't really emulated properly, and yeah, I know, I'm recording off an emulator because I think it's a lot easier to do so. So if you want to know what it looks like without all, like, the glitches and shit, just look up some screenshots or maybe some like actual gameplay footage that's been taken off the game, or better yet, if you happen to own this game, then just fire it up. So I just want to apologize in advance for that, but anyways, now you know that it is taken from an emulator, but anyways, yes. As for the graphics themselves, because I do own this game and I do know what it actually looks like, I think they're pretty good. I think the 3D stages look nice and the backgrounds look pretty cool and colorful. And the 3D models of the characters look alright. I mean, nothing too much I can complain here. But overall, I'd say it's pretty damn good. And I especially like the Joker stage where we're just fighting on a deck of cards. I do think that's pretty cool, even though I always get my ass kicked all the time on that stage because, you know, the Joker's a fucking asshole, like I've already mentioned. So yes, the actual graphics for this game are really good. Now as for the music in this game, I actually really like it a lot myself. I think the OST for this is pretty underrated for the most part. I find a lot of the songs here are really catchy, and I just really like them a lot. It's probably my favorite part of the game is the music. So for me personally, I can say that I would recommend listening to the OST for this. So overall, I don't have any complaints. It's definitely awesome. Now as for the voice acting, yeah, there are voices in this game, believe it or not. It's not really the best thing I ever heard, but for what it at least kind of suits the game because it is kind of cheesy and funny. And I have no idea who provided these voices, I couldn't find that information, but for what I do know is that it is a pretty good laugh. And I can officially say it's better than the voice acting within Chaos Wars. Yeah, if you don't know what Chaos Wars is, well, just look it up. But anyways, I'm not going to be too critical on that, but I think for the most part, it's at least alright because it's just so damn funny and cheesy. Now, if you want to buy this game, it's going to cost around like $12 or less. Or at least that's like the most I've ever seen it for. Well, at least for a loose copy. As for a complete in-box copy, I'm not sure what the price on that one would be, but I have a feeling it would be a lot more than that. But the game is really cheap, and I do see it pretty often, so therefore, it's not a hard game to find. And you shouldn't have any issues finding it. Now, as for the score, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I do find this to be a pretty fun fighting game. Now, obviously it isn't the best thing I ever played, but it is pretty fun for what it is, and especially on a system that doesn't have many fighting games. And as a kid, I loved playing this game. In fact, this was one of my favorite fighting games at the time when I played this. But taking a look at it now, it's definitely not that good of a fighting game, but I still think it is pretty amusing fun. In some ways it's unique, which I like. I just wish some of the characters were a bit better, or at least had like, an actual story to it. But, for what it is, I can at least accept it. Because I think the whole point of this game is that it was supposed to be a mindless fun arcade style of a game. At least that's what I think they're trying to go for. I mean, that's what it seems like. And I really do think it is a pretty fun game for what it is. And believe it or not, there is a second one that is also for the Nintendo 64, but I never played that one, and I will probably do a video on it at some point in the future, but not in this video. So that's my thoughts on the game's Fighter's Destiny, and well, like I already said, it's pretty mindless fun. So that's the end of this review, so I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and commenting.
Serious? Why so serious?